Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the Basketball Bulletin. My name's Trevor Lane. That's Stu, the studio cat. Happy to see y'all here. Trade deadline season. He always leaves right when I start the show. I don't know. It's like I start talking, and he's like, "That's it. I'm out of here." I guess he doesn't like my voice. At least Donnie doesn't mind. Welcome in, Donnie. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. What about you?
I'm good. I'm excited, man. This trade deadline has been awesome already. We've already had big moves, De'Aaron Fox, Luka, Anthony Davis, big time players that have been on the move. We've seen minor moves take place as well. The forgotten Jazz Clippers trade from the other day after it got eclipsed by everything else going on. We've seen Dennis Schroeder move. We've seen Dorian Finney-Smith move, players of that caliber, Nick Richards. And I do think there's more coming here as we get closer to Thursday's trade deadline. Remember, everybody, trade deadline 3 p.m. Eastern time coming up on Thursday, and already a lot of activity here in the NBA. Donnie, I guess there's a lot of stuff for us to talk about. Of course, there's going to be plenty of Lakers stuff. People are going to be asking about that. There's things happening here. We look at the Jimmy Butler trade front, the Warriors, all that kind of stuff to get into. The bottom line, this is a great time to be a basketball fan, unless maybe you're a Mavs fan.
Yeah.
Michael says, I can understand why Mavs fans are crashing out. It's like trading a 26-year-old Kobe for a 31, 32-year-old Kevin Garnett. Thank you, AD, for everything. That's actually not a bad comp there, is it?
No, not at all.
So what do you think about Mavs fans that are angry right now? I mean, I put out there on X, Mavs fans, like, you're going to love Anthony Davis. I mean, legitimately. And I got a bunch of Mavs fans saying, don't talk to us. We're, that we don't give an F about that and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And they should be mad. That's I'm going to say this from the Mavs side, obviously, because if you're the recipient of it, it's not the case, but that may be one of the worst trades ever.
Yeah.
Seriously, it may be because of the context around it. That sucks. You just don't do that. Like, I don't care how they try to personally. Maybe somebody else does. Maybe some Mavs fans that are in the corner of like the fandom that weren't really a huge Luka fan feel otherwise. But I don't care how they try to spin it. That's a terrible trade. It is what it is.
It doesn't, like, I know they essentially, the reporting is that they kept it quiet because they didn't want the Luka's agent to be able to influence anything over the trade itself.
Yeah. Because they knew it's a bad trade. All the secrecy is because they knew it was a trade they shouldn't be making.
Oh, I'm sure Rob Pelinka was more than thrilled to keep it quiet, and probably
absolutely.
was thinking, "Oh no, we need to keep this." Because Rob said he's probably thinking, "Oh my God, they tell anybody else about this, and then they're going to beat our offer."
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it is too. And then also I saw a report that they were also keeping it quiet because they didn't want it to go out to public because they didn't want a disgruntled star for one, but they also didn't want the backlash of it being public to the fan base either. That just tells me that they knew this was but that just tells me they knew that this was terrible to do, and it was going to always, it doesn't matter what AD does. I was telling you this earlier, and it's the unfortunate part about it because when you think about it, he really got the short end of the stick. It doesn't matter how great he plays. The second anything happens with him, he goes to the locker room for a quarter, comes back later, which he does from time to time. He maybe misses a late game free throw, which he does from time to time. He could give you a 40-20 game like he gave us in his last game. They won't care because he'll never be Luka. And that's the sad part about it. So, like I said, it may legitimately be one of the worst trades ever because of that context. And that's not to downplay AD, because I appreciate the hell out of AD. I think he's absolutely being underrated from the Mavs fan base, big time.
But it's not because they hate AD or whatever. It's because they're frustrated by the trade. It's by losing Luka.
Like they're out there protesting and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was their guy. Like I can understand why they'd hate it. We'd hate it too if the comp was the same as Michael's. Sure. We'd be doing all the same stuff if you're a Laker fan. Like it's the same context.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with AD. AD is phenomenal. Top 10 player in my opinion. He's great. But
I think the Mavs are situated fairly well right now, especially if they get one more initiator. they're in really good shape for a deep playoff run this year.
Yeah, I think the Mavs are going to be great. I really do. Like,
Yeah.
seriously think they're going to be great. It's tough to say they got quote unquote better subtracting Luka because he's also Luka,
Right.
but I think that they are going to be really good.
Have you noticed a lot of the pundits that trashed AD for years are now talking about how great the Mavs are going to be?
Yeah, absolutely. They're
Little
talking
funny.
about that.
Little
It's funny
funny.
because now AD is not a problem anymore because he's not in LA. But the same people are saying that LeBron isn't going to work with Luka because he doesn't play off ball or this and that. And all I can say to them is that they don't actually watch the games. They don't understand how much Reeves has had the ball. They don't understand how much Russell had the ball last year with Reeves. They don't understand either the way that quietly, before the last Russell was traded, they started to click pretty well. Like, LeBron doesn't have a problem playing off the ball. He's still going to get his on-ball reps because, of course, but he's a great off-ball player. He shoots about 40% on catch and shoots, which is about in line with other guys in the league, by the way. The other best shooters in the league. It's pretty good. He's also freaking LeBron, one of the best slashers ever. Like, they don't really know what they're talking about because they see it on surface level. Ball dominant LeBron, ball dominant Luka, no way it can work. Which, by the way, it worked with ball dominant LeBron and Kyrie, ball dominant LeBron and Wade,
ball dominant Luka and Kyrie.
Luka and Kyrie worked. I don't really see the problem with that, but so it's the pundits don't. It's weird. It's really weird from both sides, like the AD side and then the Lakers side.
It is funny. Leon said Trev ignoring the D Fox trade. No, I mentioned it off the top. That was a big trade too. Fox to San Antonio. What's that?
I don't remember it if you mentioned it.
Dude, at this time, like, time has no meaning. I don't know what was yesterday, what was the day before. I have no idea. All I know is the trade deadline is Thursday, and that is the focus of the entirety of my being right now. But here, let me get into this. J-Rod, how about Reeves first? A lot of people say now subsequent moves have to be made. The Mavs are listed as a team that will be aggressive on the market. They're going to be looking for more initiators. The Lakers looking for a big. We're going to see other teams trying to make moves here. Of course, could the Spurs make another move to go add a piece? Maybe they could. The Warriors are trying to trade for everyone right now. Like, every big name player the Warriors are calling on right now. Like, there's lots of teams that are looking to make moves right now. But this one says, how about Rui Reeves in a first, or Rui Gabe and a minimum contract for a first for Clint Capella, Dyson Daniels. The Hawks they're not moving Dyson Daniels. The Great Barrier Thief, there's no way. They found something with him. And then Drummond, if the Sixers want to, fully tank or something, but I think the Sixers are going to try to go the other way, and they're going to try to win as much as they can.
They got to. They got Embiid, and he's like, he's great, but I feel like he's an old 30.
Yeah. And Mo Bamba got waived. He's bigger than Hayes in the same stat line. You would have to swap the two out. Like, I don't know if having Mo Bamba and Jackson Hayes does, like, for the Lakers, they have to get quality bigs. They have to get a starter, and they already had Mo Bamba, and they didn't like that experience.
I mean, he didn't really get much of a chance, to be
That's
fair.
True.
He didn't really like he could have played with AD and it probably could have looked pretty good, but he didn't get a chance.
But is he the guy they need?
He could be a backup. He's not their primary guy.
They need a starter. They need a starter. The happiest team must be the Hawks because they're no longer clowned when people mention the Luka trade. I mean, that was going to be forever. Luka, Trae Young, those two guys were going to be forever connected because the Hawks traded the pick to the Mavs that became Luka in exchange for the pick that became Trae Young and the pick that became Cam Reddish. Are the Hawks now off the hook for making that trade?
I mean, no, because you'd still have had Luka. Like, he doesn't just erase that part of it. But it doesn't look as bad because, he's not in Dallas anymore. But it'll always be a thing. Like, you can't just rewrite history like that.
Yeah, I know. It's still, but you know what? Like, can the Hawks, like, Trae is really good.
He is really good.
It would be if Trae was just a bust and he wasn't, and it was terrible, and just didn't work out, it'd be a much different situation. And like they could be happy that they got Trae. Jay said, Trevor, I hope you're taking a vacation soon. You've been working. I am. A week from Friday, baby. All-Star break.
Yep.
Yep. All right, let's go here. Heard the Lakers are interested in Mitch Robinson from New York. I'm so confused. He's injury prone. Plus, I think the Lakers should target Capella and Bogdan. How do you get that's a lot of money. I don't know where that's coming from. Capella and Bogdan. That's like 20 million. I think it's like maybe 37 million, something. It's a lot of money to send out for both of those two guys. I don't know how we're stocking salaries to do something like that.
Yeah, I don't know how that works or how that happens.
I believe it's 20. Capella is at Bogdan's at 17 and change. Yeah, that's like 40. That's 40 million in salaries.
Does it work? Is Kleber able to be aggregated?
No,
okay.
He can't. He could be traded by himself, but that's it. So now you're talking Rui, Gabe, Austin, and I wouldn't give up Austin in that package, but I mean that's just to get there math wise. Yeah, that'd be tough. As far as Mitch Robinson goes, he did just post something to social media. It's part of why I wanted to address this one. That seemed like something positive had happened for him. And a lot of Knicks fans thinking this means that he's probably getting close to a return. So he has not played yet this season. He's been out due to injury. Hopefully he'll be back. If he was healthy, sure, he'd be a guy that like a lot of teams would have interest in. For me, if I'm the Knicks, I would just look at Mitch Robinson and say, he's our trade deadline acquisition.
Yeah.
And keep him because they need what he provides.
Yeah. And that's good to see he's potentially coming back. We had got that report and did a video on it like a week or two ago. And we talked about how, they may need to trade him if they wanted to see otherwise. But also the reality is there's not enough time, especially now, to evaluate what you have in him. So I think if he's showing that he's healthy, what he is long term, I think he could be a nice spark plug for this team because, like you said, they do need what he can provide, and getting another viable rotation player could be huge for them because sometimes they do skew a little bit top heavy. So it could be nice.
Yeah. But I just hope Mitch Robinson, when he does come back and stay healthy, he is such a beast on the board, such an incredible rebounder. He can be absolutely fantastic. Let's go here. No laughing matter. Said Pelinka planned and manipulated the whole trade. Greatest con is when the mark thinks it's their idea. Rob did the impossible. I mean, from the reporting, it was brought to Rob Pelinka, but then he was able to actually talk the Mavs down on 2 firsts, on Dalton Connect, on stuff like that being in the trade, which to me is pretty remarkable.
Yeah. So we were on yesterday, and I was like, nah. I still kind of feel like Rob is extremely lucky because some of this stuff just falls into his lap, but I got to give him full credit for that. I gotta give him full credit for that. Yeah. He absolutely negotiated the hell out of that and pulled it off, man. Like that's kind of crazy. And you know what? Being lucky isn't a crime. Even if I think he's lucky, that's a good thing to have on your side.
Sure.
So yeah, kudos to Rob, man. He pulled it off. He talked them down and even got them to put a second in the deal, which is insane.
That was crazy.
What the hell? Like, what? It's only a second, right? But like,
still,
why? Like the context of it.
And the Lakers had a second they could have put in.
Yeah, that's man. I saw somebody that was reacting to, and it was just somebody making a joke, but they were reacting to the transcript of the call.
Oh yeah,
and they were like, oh, Rob's over there, or macked his way to Luka Doncic. He sweet talked him like he got in his ear, whispered him, he was macking him, and got Luka Doncic out of it. I was like, man, that's crazy. But that's basically what happened. That's insane. That is pretty crazy. That's a heist. But like I said earlier, because of that stuff, it's probably like realistically one of the worst trades ever.
We'll see how it all plays out. I know Mavs fans not happy with what's gone on.
If they get a chip out of it, does that make it any better? Say they just everything goes their way and they win a chip this year.
The Mavs win the title this year. The banners hang forever. They can look back and they say we won a title. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's fair. And I'll tell you what, if it can't be our Lakers, I hope it is the Mavs. I hope the Mavs do win the whole damn. I want to see AD win one.
Yeah,
for sure.
Max, no heist. Nico is working for LA. That's another thing too. They have the crazy part about that is
the conspiracy theories.
Yeah, well, the conspiracy too, because of the relationship he has and the relationship he's had with Rob, with guys like Kobe
Mhm.
through being working with Nike, a representative there. And the crazy thing is with Nico is that he was dead set on AD. That's why this got done and why he approached them and was like, I want AD. What about Luka Doncic? And Rob's like, are you serious? Because like I know Rob's thinking like, dude, if you shop him, you could get 7 picks, you could get
Yeah,
X upcoming star. Like
for
this is
sure.
Luka, like, but they really wanted AD. And so they wanted AD so bad they were able to be talked all the way down. Like that's crazy to where they got only 1 pick. And I do value Christie. Like if we were to redraft his draft, he's probably a lottery pick, I
He's
think.
much higher. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe lottery, maybe late firsts in that area. But Christie, I think, has value. Of course, he's only 21, but still, like he basically swindled him. So
Yeah. I mean, absolutely incredible what he was able to pull off. And I mean, to the point where I'm seeing Mavs fans saying that the league did this, that this is because they wanted a star on the Lakers and all that kind of like coming up with these crazy
oh, I
conspiracy
saw
theories.
that one too. I did see that one
Yeah.
where they were saying that they wanted to star on the Lakers because of the ratings.
Yeah. It's ratings, it's all this other stuff. I mean, that's how out there this trade was. Absolutely crazy stuff. A little bit of news here on the Jimmy Butler front that just came out. Jimmy Butler has been essentially trying to shut down any trade that does not send him to the Phoenix Suns, been trying to tell teams that he will not sign extensions or will not sign a new contract with them. And he apparently told us to the Golden State Warriors. Well, Anthony Slater reporting that the Warriors still have interest in Jimmy Butler regardless. That would be interesting to me, Donnie. If a team says, you know what, Jimmy, if it's Memphis, if it's now Golden State, a team on Jimmy's no-go list says, we don't care. We're trading for you anyway, and we expect you to come play. Because right now he is trying to shut down any avenue that doesn't send him to Phoenix. And that's just still such a difficult path to travel.
Yeah, I like we did the video on that earlier, and I said, you know what, the Warriors should probably still try to bite on it. Like, what do you have to really like lose as long as you don't put Kuminga in the deal? It's not like it's a huge downside. Like you'd give up Wiggins, who I think is good, but you could maybe spin that as a positive, getting off of all that salary. Maybe you can do something else with that money, or maybe you don't have to put a lot of draft picks in there. Like there's different ways I'm sure it can get done because Miami, as we get closer and closer to the deadline, I really wonder if they get more and more desperate to just get off Jimmy for whatever that is. It could wind up just being matching salary for all we know.
Sure.
So that's interesting. But if you're Jimmy, I understand what you're trying to do. But the reality is that you don't have the leverage you think you have because of your contract situation. Like you're saying you're not going to re-sign with these teams, but if you get to the end of this and you're like, oh, my best bet is to actually opt in or extend with whatever team I got sent to.
And it might be.
And it probably will be.
Yeah.
You're going to do it. And if we can figure this out, I'm sure these teams can figure this out too.
Like, exactly. So when Jimmy's saying this stuff, teams can say like, well, we don't know how much we actually buy that you won't sign with. And on top of that, even let's say Jimmy does this. Let's say Jimmy says, Warriors, I will not sign a new deal with you. Great. Goes to the Warriors. The Warriors say, screw you. We're going to trade for you anyway. And come play with Draymond. Come play with Steph. Let's go. Get on the court. Let's do this. And then summertime comes and Jimmy says, I wasn't lying. I won't sign a contract with you. Great. Where are you going to go?
Exactly.
Now you need us to execute a sign and trade with you. So let us know what assets you're going to bring back and from where, and we'll let you know if we'll help you get the contract that you want.
Crazy, because there are no teams that he's going to go to. There's only what Washington and Brooklyn that have the option of signing him outright.
And those teams shouldn't want him.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe a team can move heaven and earth and clear up the space for him and maybe get it done. That's an option, I'm sure. But at that point, if they've got to shed that much salary, is that a team you still want to go to because maybe that team is diminished in a way? Mm-hmm. Maybe they have to come off of assets that limit what they're able to do after getting you to improve the roster if they need to do that. There's a lot of factors to this. But the cleanest, easiest way is to go wherever he's traded and probably resign there, especially if it's a good team or a team that projects to be good. Like if he's not going to some random team that's just not going to do anything, that he doesn't want to be there, then okay. But I think you can make it work with Golden State. I think you can make it work with a Memphis. Like it doesn't, to me, I don't think it has to be Phoenix or bust just because you want to get all the money guaranteed to you. Like if you're Jimmy, okay, like obviously he wants the $50-60 million extension. Okay, fine. What if somebody gives you 45? What if they give you 40? Does that work for you? Can that work? Like is that an option? So like he's just in a weird spot.
Yeah, it's a mess of a situation. But Jimmy, I don't blame Jimmy for wanting to get paid and wanting to push to go to the Suns. I think he just has to be realistic. And you know what? Maybe behind the scenes, we don't know. Maybe there is some team out there that's dumb enough to take a Bradley Beal deal. Or maybe there's something that's being given to that team where it suddenly it makes sense. Like, oh, they're taking Bradley Beal, but they're getting X, Y, and Z. And so now this makes sense for them to do.
Yeah.
I just don't see. And Beal has to agree, and he's already said his family is why he doesn't want to move. It just, I don't know how he's going to get to Phoenix, but I think some team is going to call Jimmy Butler's bluff here. Now, this comment, Move said it ain't a players' league no more. Front office got back their control. Keep in mind, this is a somewhat unique situation. Like if teams are already, like the Heat right now, are trying to make sure they have cap space for 2026. So if there was a bunch of cap space out there and teams willing to use it, Jimmy would have a lot more leverage.
Yeah.
Brandon
absolutely.
Ingram would have a lot more leverage because they would go to their teams and they would say, you know what? If you guys don't trade me to the place I want to go right now, I'm just going to bounce. And look, I've got 5 options out there on the market. I'm going to sign with one of those teams that has cap space. That's why you're seeing the dynamic the way it is right now. It's not so much that teams have wrested control away from the players or something like that. It's that there's no place for them to go.
Absolutely. That's what I would say as well. Like it's more so about the fact, like the CBA also is going to hinder what players can do, but front offices have always had control. It's not only always been players. It's not, even when it was a players league, they've always had a high degree of control over what happened. It just kind of got a little bit out of hand, I guess you could say, in terms of what the players were doing and kind of abusing the power that they had. But now to an extent, yeah, sure. The ownership, the front offices do have more power over what's happening. And you could argue whether that's a good thing or not. I don't know if you saw it or not, but I just saw the chat say like an hour ago that the Craig and Duarte got waived.
Torrey Craig and Chris Duarte, yes, did get waived as a way of completing that De'Aaron Fox trade with Zach LaVine. Yep, they got waived.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of that trade grades are in on this from ESPN. And I want to see if we agree with these, Donnie.
Oh, I already saw no. I don't agree.
I'm talking about the Spurs trade.
Okay. Don't show me the other trade grade.
I'm looking at the Spurs trade here. All right. Let's take a look at this. So we've got the big Spurs trade that sends De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs, Zach LaVine to the Kings, and then the Bulls get a trio of players, plus they get their own first round pick back. All right. So here's the grades. San Antonio gets an A-. I think San Antonio, if it's
Where's
me,
the minus from?
Yeah, that's it exactly. Why are they getting a minus here? Played this right, being aggressive in pursuit of Fox without being reckless. The picks they gave up aren't even that good. They're not like top quality first round picks.
Yeah, I don't know if
I don't see how this is an A-. I just give the Spurs an A for this.
I think this is an A+ because you got to keep your guys.
Yeah.
I think they got an A+ out of this.
Yeah.
It couldn't have got any better.
I think we're being too harsh of a grader here. Now, the Sacramento Kings get a B-. I'll admit, I think this is overly generous. I think Sacramento, and more moves I'm sure are coming. I'm sure Sacramento is going to do more stuff, right? But if Sacramento's goal, if it's all about we're getting Zach LaVine because we want to win right now, I think there's too many guys who are offense, not a lot of defense, shoot the ball. And maybe that's kind of going to be the Kings' MO or continue to be their MO. But it's a lot of guys where their base skill is putting the ball in the basket. We look at LaVine, we look at DeRozan, we look at Malik Monk. These are guys who score the basketball. Now, I do think the one thing that fixes this is if they get a creator, or if Malik Monk, if his ability to create actually really comes into bloom here. Like Austin Reeves has taken off since D'Angelo Russell was traded. If Malik Monk can step into that role while Devin Carter is still developing, and they're going to lean on Carter as well, but if Malik Monk's playmaking skills really are what the flashes that we've seen indicate they might be, then I take back what I'm saying here, and that gives them their guy that can be a creator for some of these other players.
I also think that with this, like I don't mind C plus, B minus, that range. I think that's fine. Yes, if you like, make sure you like. If you haven't yet, thank you so
Hit
much.
that like button.
All that fun stuff. We appreciate it. I think C plus, B minus is fair. I kind of like this is a very lateral move, but like I've said repeatedly, as someone that's from the market, that's all that they really wanted. They wanted to stay competitive. They didn't want to reset, but they even got some draft picks to help them with that. I don't have the same concerns as you because it's the same way it's been before.
Sure.
It wasn't any different. Fox wasn't out there getting 10 assists a game either. A lot of it also just fits around Sabonis, and I think LaVine, with his ability to shoot the ball, may be a better fit just directly around Sabonis as he's their primary creator for this team. I do think Monk needs to take a bit of a leap, but I don't think he has to take some astronomical leap or anything like that. I also like the opportunity Keon Ellis is going to get here. And I think that for them, a couple years from now, I think it's tricky because they're putting LaVine into Rosenbach. That kind of worked one year, didn't work much after that. I think that's where it's a little bit tricky, but I don't like if Fox is a 10, what is LaVine? Because I also don't think there's a huge gap there player quality wise either.
Okay. I mean, what if Fox is a 10, what is LaVine? And 7, an 8?
Yeah,
Like
I'm closer to like 8.
Okay.
Maybe 8.5. Like, I don't know that it's a huge gap. So that, and maybe you could argue that is a big gap. But I think this is lateral. I think it keeps them competitive, which I think is the most important thing for them, which is why I said I think this is a pretty fair grade, all things considered.
Looking at this, here's the West. Dallas, Sacramento, San Antonio all just made moves. That's the 9, 10, and the 12 seed right now in the West. The Warriors are doing everything they can to make moves. When the dust settles and the trade deadline is come and gone, are all of these teams are making moves to rise up in the standings. That's what they're all doing right now. Which ones are going to be unsuccessful in that? Of those teams, who's not making it?
I have no clue. I think the easiest indicator is that it's going to stay how it is right now. With maybe the Spurs going up, and I'd have to guess the Kings falling. That's it. But like with those teams, honestly, even the teams above the bracket, like one injury and you're done. Because it's just too tight. Like it's just too tight. So I don't really know that this is going to be a until the end of the season thing. And we may even have several teams that are like in a tie and have to do a tiebreaker situation to see who even gets the play-in slots, because all these teams are, I think, going to be competitive.
How they perform against each other is going to matter a ton, because that will be a tiebreaker. That's going to matter a ton as we get down the stretch here. The Chicago Bulls in that same trade were awarded a B+. I like for Chicago, you're picking a direction. You're finally settling, and you move LaVine. Now you have to finish this off by moving Vucevic, maybe moving Lonzo Ball if you can find a taker there, and there you go. And that's what you need to do. But I don't do I like any of the players they got back? Not all that much. I mean, they're all just kind of okay, but you get your own pick back. Now you have the certainty of having your pick this year. You will lose more games now, which is something else they need to do. And I think this gives Chicago more of a direction.
Yeah, I like Trey, but the problem is they didn't need him. Not on their team, the way it's currently
Trey Jones,
yeah, the way their team is, I don't really.
They've got all these guards.
That's not the right spot to try to get him in and see what you can do with him. They're just kind of here. Yeah, I assume this is a part one of a deal, but they're kind of just here because they're getting off LaVine, and I think that's the big benefit here, is getting off that LaVine contract and getting off of him in a way that he was causing you to win too many games. So There's that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. We'll take a look at the Lakers trade grades in just a bit here, but let's go here. Ali said Brooklyn gets Gabe and Rui and a first. Indy gets Claxton and a first. And that first. The Lakers give up a first. And then. Oh, no. Sorry. Brooklyn gets Gabe and Rui and the Lakers 1 through 4 first. So they're trading the protected section of the Jazz pick to Brooklyn. If it doesn't convey, it could be an all or nothing thing. If it doesn't convey, I don't think they even have a second to turn it into. But they could trade that. Claxton and a first round pick to Indy, and the Lakers would get Turner, Mathurin, and a second. I think that's too much value for the Lakers, honestly.
Yeah,
Turner and Mathurin. That's way too much.
That's quite a bit. And they're even getting a second round pick back.
I think in situations like this, you have to remember Brooklyn doesn't want Gabe nor Rui. They would just be there to match salaries. That's it. They don't actually want the players. So the picks are the only value going to Brooklyn. So is Brooklyn giving up Claxton for a 1 through 4 protection on a pick that's unlikely to be anything? No, they're definitely not.
Yeah.
So that's the problem.
That's a tricky one. I like those 3-team deals where they're more like the Bulls and Vucevic is the center that Indiana's getting.
Sure. If the Lakers don't make any more moves this season and LeBron leaves in the offseason, could the Lakers sign Ingram and Miles Turner? If LeBron were to leave, suddenly the Lakers would have a little bit of cap room. I think I did the math on it the other day, though, and it was like 20 million. It wasn't like a full max salary or something they would have available. So you would still have some cap room. You would not be able to sign Ingram and Miles Turner. Turner's looking for like 30 million. The preference would you'd much rather have LeBron than have the amount of cap space that the Lakers would have available should LeBron walk away.
Yeah, basically. That's the point.
Yeah.
I think people are kind of expecting LeBron to win out. I don't know that that's the case. A lot of the LeBron fans I've seen and interacted with are actually extremely excited about this. They are really excited about the fact for LeBron to finally have another ball handler to take over.
Really?
And also,
you say LeBron fans are excited about this?
Most of the ones I've seen and interacted with have been really happy about this. There's always going to be the stragglers that only care about LeBron having the ball the whole game, this and that. But most of them are really happy about this because he's wanted this for a long time. You got to think about it. There's other arguments you can make about LeBron's play. And one of the things that was talked about a lot this year specifically was that darn plus minus. Well, context doesn't tell you he's out there with terrible lineups that can't score. Mm-hmm. It's only him. He's got to create everything. Now all of a sudden you've got he used to be able to do that. It's just he's 40 now. Now you've got Luka to do that. So like there's other things that you can make an argument for. Most of them are pretty happy about that. And also the fact that, I don't know, Luka's one of the best players in the world. He's 25. People are even saying, this could extend LeBron's window. Mm-hmm. Like maybe he plays longer than just a couple years. Maybe he takes a pay cut and plays longer than a couple years to build and have an opportunity to play alongside Luka.
I've seen the initial knee-jerk reaction from most LeBron fans that I saw. I'm talking about coming right off the trade was negative. They didn't like that this would potentially put the Lakers in a more difficult spot to win this year. And they're not worried about the future, right? They're not worried about the future of, a post-LeBron era, obviously. So there's no value in Luka's future beyond LeBron because of that. That was what I saw. But I'm glad that there are a lot of LeBron fans out there that are positive too, though, because I think it is. There was no way they couldn't take that trade. Yeah. Easy peasy. Reeves, Dalton, Gabe, and a minimum for Dyson Daniels and Capella. Again, I know a lot of teams want Dyson Daniels. I just don't see the Hawks moving him. Now, if you're giving up Austin Reeves, all right, maybe that changes things, especially Reeves and Dalton. That's a lot. I can't even say the Lakers should do that. But I just think conceptually, I don't think the Hawks found something in Dyson Daniels, and I don't think they want to move on from him.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it.
If there ever was a time that Jeannie showed she was her father's child, this trade was it. I just thought the maneuvering behind the scenes and keeping it quiet was interesting. That's not the type of stuff we've seen the Lakers, especially at this front office, do. We think about the Pau Gasol trade back in the day, but it's been a while. Like the Rui trade, kind of, but that's obviously he was a smaller name. But this is like the first big, oh my God, how'd they pull this off type deal the Lakers have done it in quite a while.
Yeah, that's really crazy, man. Like there were questions about Genie that I was seeing, and I think this really quieted a lot of those. Same questions for Rob. So
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, this definitely helps Rob's stock. Reeves, Rui, Connect, Reddish, first round pick swap, plus a swap for Bam.
nope.
Miami's not moving Bam. not for that.
No.
Miami, no, they're not moving Bam. Look, he would do that in a heartbeat if you could. They will not do it.
Yeah, that's another one. You don't let them get off the phone. You do that. They're not doing that.
This is an interesting one. Kleba and 1 second for Jonas Valanciunas. Would you do that? I mean, he's at least just to get a center on the roster, and the math works.
Just to get him in. I mean, sure, okay. I don't like having to give up the thing with Jonas, and it's the same thing with Vucevic, except Vucevic you can maybe explain it away because he can give you 25 on a night or something like that, shoot the ball a bit. The thing with him is that it was a tricky fit with AD, and now you don't have AD. So yeah, I'm kind of we may be also fielding the slowest team in the league at that point because Luka's not like he runs up and down super quickly. It's gonna be and LeBron already is LeBron gets out there and he runs when he wants to, but there's that one stat that tracks how much he moves, and he doesn't move very much out there.
I'm just picturing Luka would throw a lob to Jonas, and Jonas would just look at it, and it would fly off.
Oh, it's like that time in 21 when they threw that lob to Montrez.
Oh, that's right, and it was JaVale McGee height. It was like the beginning of the season. That's right. I forget who threw it, but they threw a lob to Montrez.
I think it was Kuz,
and it was and they threw it at JaVale McGee height because they were used to that. And Trez is just like, I have no chance.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I wanted to pull this one up. Create LeBron jacks threes. That's his only role. If you don't know that, you aren't watching. LeBron
what
takes
are you watching?
Exactly. LeBron takes like 5 threes a game. Maybe he's watching LeBron like 3 years ago where he used to take like 8. That's not very true. I don't really know where that's coming from. Also, how do we know Luka is long-term when he can leave next year? Should we maximize this time then? And how is Luka going to respect JJ as a coach? He is way less accomplished than Jason. What do you think about that?
So that is a real thing, right? Where Luka could, and this would be, I mean, nightmare scenario for the Lakers. And this is part of the scenario that the Mavs, they did the deal in order to avoid this. Now, the Mavs could have given him a supermax, but the Lakers, I'm sure, will offer Luka whatever contract he wants this summer. There's a contract extension that he could sign. If he turns that down, they essentially have to immediately put him on the trade block again because he's got a player option the next summer and he could walk away in free agency. We already know teams are lining up with cap space that summer. So if Luka doesn't want to sign that extension, then that's that. And we'll see what Luka says. His presser is tomorrow. We'll see. Does he talk about wanting to be in LA long term? How does he handle? I'm sure that question will be asked. How does he handle that? But that's going to be something to keep an eye on here. It's always possible, and the Lakers would be put in a situation where not only would they have to trade him, but there would be cap space that next summer. And so he would be able to dictate what team he wants to go to simply by telling teams, no, I don't want to go there, so I'm not going to sign an extension with you guys either. I won't stay if you trade for me. And so then the Lakers will be put in a bit of a tough bargaining position. So that's part of the downside to this. What was the rest of the question, Donnie?
I got to pull it back up for you. It's not hard to find. He sent it like 5 times. Was it, did you answer the respect part about it?
Oh, how would he respect JJ as a coach? Well, that's the other part of this, right? Where right now, compared to Darvin Ham, we're generally hearing Lakers players like defend the coaching staff. Even when they have a bad game, they're talking about, we didn't execute the game plan right. The coaches gave us they gave us the answers to the test, is what we're hearing, and we didn't do what we were supposed to do on the floor. It's on us. We weren't hearing that last year. They are still very bought in to JJ Redick right now. And I also think JJ, just with his intensity, That's going to demand respect. His work ethic, that's going to demand respect. So yes, JJ Redick, he's a former teammate of Luka's. But I think when you look at the way JJ operates and I want to say culture he's kind of creating with the team already, I think he'll do just fine. Who knows how long this will last? But right now, the players still seem to be very bought in to JJ Redick.
And I think the key to that is also LeBron. If Luka goes there and sees his idol, as he's called him, LeBron, bought in, I think that's going to add credibility to it too. Like he's going to be like, okay, this is legit. He's got LeBron lockstep. They're working. This is the vision they have. Okay, let me give this a shot. I also think Luka's going to go to LA and put his best foot forward. I don't think he's going to want to cause any trouble or cause any problems. I don't think he's leaving. I think he's going to be an absolute demon and be upset about this trade because he should have never been traded in the first place.
Yeah. He should be fired up and angry. You see the report that he bought a $15 million house?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's going to be $15 million pissed, too. Like, I think he's going to come here and do everything he can. And that may include, but not be limited to, some of the things that they had problems with. He's probably got all the things they said about him, or he will have all the things he said about him if he's the psycho-competitive guy that, we know him to be. He's going to have them all listed. Oh, out of shape, this and that. He may come back. He may be better for it. Who knows?
Andrew says Memphis should go all in on KD.
I kind of like that. I'd like KD in
Memphis. Man. Now, like Phoenix would have to decide they're going to sell on Kevin Durant. I don't think they are. I don't think they are. But that's out there though, that the Warriors are trying to get KD. If I'm Memphis, I'm absolutely making that call. Just picking up the phone and just saying, "Hey, is KD actually available?" Because if he is, he'd be a great fit in Memphis. Any of those wings would be a great fit. Do the Grizzlies have to make a trade by the trade deadline to get out of the West?
No, I don't think so. But what I do think is they're going to need Ja to perform a little bit better. He's kind of having a under the radar kind of season, in and out of the lineup, not really shooting as much as he used to, scoring less as a result. I think they're going to need that. In fact, this year, I think it's a very, very strong argument you can make that Jaren has been their best player, especially when you factor in the defensive side. I think that they could obviously go up. Look at the minutes as well. They've really managed him this year.
Yeah.
I think there's an argument that they could go up a level in the playoffs. I don't know that they need that. They're the second seed. So,
and that's most likely the explanation for all of these drops in stats. It's really just, in fact, if I go pull his per 36 minutes, he's right on par. He's just playing less. His assists have gone up, but he's right on par with where he was the season before, even though it was a shortened season and all that for him. He only played 9 games, but even the season before that, well, I guess the shot attempts did go down compared to the 2 seasons ago. But ja is incredible, but I do think the Grizzlies, they have enough, but it also wouldn't hurt them to get another piece. Like it's close, but they may want to make a move to like guarantee that it's like you think you have enough gas in the tank to get there, but you want to go and get a little bit more just so you don't have to worry a little bit. Like that's kind of where Memphis is at. They have enough as is to get there. Whether or not they will, we'll see. But it wouldn't hurt them to add a piece, just especially because their competition is going to be OKC.
Yeah, that could be true. Like I do think they should probably try to do something to separate them from the pack. But I do think that otherwise the West is going to largely be just matchup based, who you get. And I think in any given night, especially when you make it into the playoffs, depending on matchups, you could win that going forward, depending on health and all that stuff. So I don't know that they need to, but I think they should, which is why we talked about BI, which is why we talked about Jimmy. We talked about these guys that would clearly, if they don't have to give up Bane to do it, at least put them a little bit separate. So another thing that's kind of popped up is the LeBron mentoring Luka piece. And I've seen that as more of a positive, but I've also seen this response too, or something to this effect, where it says Luka's been a pro since he was 13. He doesn't need anyone to mentor him. I don't know that this is being perceived the right way. LeBron's not going to try to mentor Luka on how to be a NBA player or anything like that. He may mentor him on how to be the face of the league. He may mentor him on how to be a star and a winner in the NBA, win championships and stuff like that. But I think the big thing he mentors him on is Luka's biggest issue, taking care of himself. LeBron is the perfect person to do it.
Yep.
And then there's the added layer that he looked up to LeBron. He modeled his game after LeBron. LeBron was his idol, as he said. He's his favorite player. He's going to have a whole other way to get to him that nobody else could. And that's Luka's biggest issue, is taking care of himself. There's nobody better in the NBA to listen to than LeBron. That's more what it's about. It's not about, oh, he's going to teach him how to put up 30 per night. Oh, Luka's already been doing that. That's not what it's about. I think you got to stop thinking surface level and go beyond that, because that's more what it's about. He's 40 years old. He's helping the Lakers usher in a new era. That's what it's about, right? That's a transitional period, and he's a part of it. That's what he's supposed to do. Kobe asked him, leave the game in a better place. That's one of the things that he's doing. That's where it's about. It's deeper than that. This is something that really annoys me, because I've seen it a lot today. It's really, really shallow to think that way.
I'm not going to disagree with any of that. We did just a little bit of news here, because we were talking about him earlier. Mitchell Robinson just got cleared for full contact. So that's great news. That means he's almost back here.
That's what we saw. Yeah, he was coming back soon, and I'm happy he's back, because they need him.
Yeah. Yep. All right, let's go here. This one we kind of addressed already. Would the Lakers trade for Bam Adebayo be plausible? No.
No, it's not.
No, the Heat would not trade. See, Donnie, now everything we say, though, we could say, but the Luka trade happened, so you never know, right?
Okay, seriously, but the Lakers getting Bam is not happening.
If you put that trade out there an hour before the trade actually happened, if you put it on social media, the response would immediately be, this would never happen.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And yet it did.
That exact trade that happened, yeah.
Malachi said Rob would have been in his bag if it was Dalton Connect instead of Max. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the part about this that
hurt.
I like Dalton, but I think Max is such a better fit on this team long term, and he's younger. Man.
Yep. I agree. Ben says Mavs owners force game 2. Force the GM to trade Luka. So I saw this. This conspiracy theory that's going around. The Mavs ownership, who now has ties to Las Vegas, right? It's not Mark Cuban anymore. Cuban didn't know about the trade or anything like that. Cuban doesn't have as much control as he thought he was going to have when he sold his the team and everything. But the new Mavs owners forced the GM to trade Luka so they can scrap the Mavs franchise in Dallas and take the roster to Las Vegas. The Mavs enter the expansion draft and LeBron buys Cuban's stake. And so the Mavs become the new Las Vegas team. Donnie, we are playing out the plot to Major League. That's what this is, Major League. That's what they're talking. They are saying that there's a conspiracy theory and the plot of the 80s baseball classic Major League is happening right now in the NBA.
Can you imagine? That's just too... Man, I know we just said that we can't say things will never happen, but man, come on now.
If you were trying to really tank the team like that so that you could move it to Las Vegas, why would you get back Anthony Davis, who's going to help you win games right now?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. What is there any chance they flip AD next year?
They could, I guess. If AD, I think he's extension eligible next year. So
yeah,
in theory, they could. And look, the way things went down with the Seattle Sonics and being moved to OKC, yeah, that was pretty bad, right? And that was a pretty clear. Everybody feared that they were going to do that, and then they did that. But this would be next level. This is stuff out of a movie. This is next level super villain type stuff. If that's what you're trying to do, to get the fans to turn on the Mavs, drag the team down as far as you can so that you can move the team to Las Vegas. It's crazy. It's
No.
like you would have been better off just don't buy the Mavs to begin with and buy the Las Vegas franchise when it becomes available.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to play it out. They're going to extend AD when possible. They're going to be a pretty good team going forward. I don't think any of this is going to happen. But hey, I've been wrong before, right? I don't know.
Akash said, further add to Donnie's point, Luka is another Braun, and the only thing I'll like more than Braun on a team is having two LeBrons on a team.
That's the thing. You got the best guy at what LeBron does since LeBron.
Donnie, do you consider yourself a LeBron fan?
I'm a fan of LeBron.
Like, are you more Lakers fan than LeBron fan, or more LeBron fan than Lakers fan?
Lakers fan.
Okay.
I mean, it's franchise first for me, but he's my favorite.
Okay. Player. Yeah, that was my question. I'm curious to see. There's a lot of LeBron fans out there. Do those LeBron fans, just assuming everybody stays, LeBron doesn't leave the Lakers, Luka doesn't leave the Lakers, do those LeBron fans just become Luka fans once LeBron retires?
Yep.
That's what happens?
Yeah, it was already gonna happen because he's like the quote unquote heir apparent. That's what it is. It was already gonna happen.
Wow.
So yeah, especially for the Lakers, that's pretty shrewd. I'm sure they thought about that too. You get to keep the fan base, you get an international megastar, somebody as big of a star as LeBron, basically. It's right there, right next to him somewhere. It's crazy. And you replace LeBron when he's done with the next LeBron. Like it's kind of crazy. There have been a lot of guys that have been billed to be that. Luka, Zion. I think if you have to say anybody, Luka's the closest thing.
Yeah,
it's not so much
when you watch him play, you think that.
Yeah, it's not so much the athleticism, of course, or anything like that. It's just the methodical nature of their games. The way that, especially when LeBron was younger, he could manipulate teams into doing what he wanted. He has a harder time doing that exact thing now. So you see it more on like some games, not every game. Luka can still do that. And it's just the way that they play and control stuff. And then there's the whole heliocentric nature of it. I think LeBron's the best player ever to do that. And Luka also does the same thing.
I feel like Luka is a combination. He's like halfway between LeBron and James Harden.
Yeah, he is. That's where it is. Because Harden's also the other guy that's not talked about enough as being, one of the next best guys besides these two at doing that exact thing too. Like being yeah, that's what we're doing. I told you it was already. I told you it was already a thing.
That's that they're ready.
So yeah, he's a cross between them two because he's got some of the elements of Harden's game, like that step back and stuff like that. So, but those are the three guys that if you talk about who are the best heliocentric players ever, it's probably those three.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think about Andre Drummond as a center? I think that the Sixers, because they're so close, they're going to try to still push to make now, if they were to try to tank, they'd have to really tank like right now because their pick is only top 6 protected. But because it's only top 6 protected, I don't think they're going to tank. I think they're going to continue to try to, especially they had that little run. They've lost their last 2, but they had a run where they were really good. And Tyrese Maxey was an absolute killer out there. So they're the 11th seed right now. The Bulls are selling off pieces right now. I think the Sixers are looking at the situation thinking we're gonna make the play in here. We're gonna make a push here and try to go.
You think that's the right idea?
I think the other way, if their pick was lottery protected, no. Top 6, it's just such a hard. That's a tough needle to thread to try to get there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'd expect the Bulls to drop out.
Yeah. I mean, look, right now they'd be giving the 7th pick to OKC.
They're going to drop out.
But look at they're right there with Toronto. Toronto won some games. They could go the other way, I guess. But like, are they catching Charlotte? They're already 4 up in the win column on Charlotte.
No, they're not catching Charlotte.
Oh no, I'm sorry. They're more than that. I was looking at Toronto. They're 3 up in the win column on Brooklyn. They're not catching Charlotte. They're 7 up on Charlotte. Can they catch Brooklyn 3 up in the win column
Yeah.
with Tyrese
okay.
Maxey on their team? Probably not. That's the problem. Like, can they sink low enough? Otherwise, they're just praying for lottery luck here.
I mean, they lost a lot of games with Tyrese out there. And if he doesn't, like that Lakers game last week, if he doesn't just absolutely spearhead the victory, it's kind of hard. You can lose games, I think, but I don't know. I'm in a weird spot with Philly because part of me is like just punt the season, but also you kind of can't do that. Like you've got Embiid, you got PG, you got this team designed to win now. Who knows what the heck things look like next year? You probably just say screw the pick and go.
I wonder if that's the point that the Philly gets to. They just say we can't worry about where the pick is going to fall. We're just go win as many games as we can.
Yeah, I think that's probably the more realistic choice.
What a disastrous season for Philly. And Basic chimes in, Yabusele is the one to watch at the trade deadline. Oh, a lot of teams
everyone wants him.
Would love to have him. A lot of teams would love to have him for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Is this right? Team Money says Donnie is too young to know about Major League. Have you seen Major League?
I wouldn't have guessed that was me because he said DF. That's fair. I was when you say DF, I think of DFS.
Oh, Dorian Finney-Smith. Okay,
well, that's what I think about.
Well, you and Finney-Smith are about the same age, so
my knowledge of it is I've seen it in passing, and I've heard you talk about it a lot.
You've heard me talk about Major. Well, maybe because Bob Uecker died, I was talking about it recently.
Yeah, I've heard.
I did watch it the other like a week or two ago. I did watch it.
Okay, so I have not purposely sat down.
You haven't sat down and watched the whole thing.
No.
Okay. It's a worthwhile watch. It's a classic. Rick, Wild Thing, Vaughn, all that. A lot of 80s fashion styles that you're going to see in that movie. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, let's go here. Looking at Minnesota's possible cap issues, I'm hoping Naz Reid can magically be available. They love Naz Reid in Minnesota. The challenge for them is, I believe Naz is pretty close to having some maneuverability here. Yeah, Naz has a player option for next year, but he's also extension eligible. They do have some cap situations because you've got Rudy Gobert taking up a bunch of money, but this is where it was smart to have Gobert. You know, it starts at less than what his current salary is, the extension. Anthony Edwards, his money continues to go up. This is where maybe if you could find an expiring for Julius Randle and you could find somebody who can play, like somebody who's a real fit here, that Miami Heat are rumored to have interest in Randle, maybe there's something you could do there and then lean into Naz Reid playing even more. But I think that Minnesota, they would move Julius Randle well before they would move Naz Reid.
Well, yeah, I actually kind of thought they made that trade with the mindset of not retaining him. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think they like Naz a lot. He's also younger and puts him on the Ant timeline, like squarely. Mm-hmm. They're only a couple years apart. And I think Randle is a good player, but I don't know if he's going to be there for very long because, like I said, I think they probably made that deal solely because they wanted to get off the money, and he was a byproduct of that. So,
yeah,
I don't know that they have a commitment or affinity to Julius.
Which maybe we do see him move. Maybe we do. Gabe in a second for Olenek and Rui in a second for Time Lord. Now we would have a too big rotation. You would, but you'd also really be missing Gabe Vincent's defense in the backcourt. And maybe you'd be missing Rui on the wing as well. I don't know. I mean, that's the challenge for the Lakers. If Gabe and Rui are your two main pieces you're going to do to make a trade, you're going to be creating a deficiency somewhere else by trying to fix the center position. And I don't know that this is the ideal situation to get two guys who are questionable, where Olenek is kind of old and Rob Williams is kind of injury prone, right? So, but value wise, I think it's fine. I don't know. What would you think? I think I would worry too much about the backcourt deficiency personally, because I think Gabe is actually a good fit with Luka.
Yeah, I think Gabe is like one of the perfect types of players to put alongside Luka going forward. Low usage guard that can defend, hit a spot up shot. I think that's exactly what you're looking for. And I think he's actually important on this team because you don't really got a lot of perimeter defense and that exact archetype on this team now that Max is gone. So I think he's more important now. I don't know if they're going to trade for somebody else or if they're going to try to use Cam more or what that looks like. But I think Gabe is pretty important to this team. As for Rui, I think I like Rui on this. Well, I don't know that I like him on this edition anymore as much because it's going to be a tough ask to put LeBron, Rui, maybe Reeves,
True.
Luka out there at the same time. It's going to be a really tough ask if you try to pivot to one of those lineups. Even just 3 of those 4 guys on any given night could be pretty bad defensively.
In a vacuum?
In a vacuum. It's like
Sure.
LeBron can turn it up when he wants to. It's just
Not every
82
night.
game season. He's not going to do it every night. It is what it is. He will now. Maybe he'll have to do it now. Maybe he'll be able to do it because of the decreased load with usage having the crazy high usage he has, or with Luka having the crazy high usage he has. But that's where it's kind of tricky. I think alongside those guys, whether it's Rui, Gabe, Olynyk, whoever, you need bouncy bigs because those guys can get the lobs up and all that stuff. But you also need 3-and-D guys. Like if you could have like a Rob Williams, another serviceable big, and then the rest of the roster behind Luka and LeBron just be DFS, like that's perfect.
Like just clone Dorian Finney-Smith and have a team
DFS
full of
everywhere. That's it. Like that's perfect. That's that's kind of what you want, right?
You know what's funny is like LeBron James is the ultimate. I don't know why I think about this a lot, but I think about if you were to take one player and clone that one player and make a whole team of just that player. What is the best team you could possibly make? It is a team of LeBron James clone, which sounds like, of course, right?
LeBron,
because it's LeBron, right? But because he can do everything, he could play 1 through 5. He doesn't have the ability to play big, but wouldn't Luka be high up on that list too?
Yeah, he would be, but
not as high as LeBron, especially if it's prime LeBron because of his defensive abilities.
That's why I said which LeBron, because LeBron's been in this league so many times. There's so many different iterations of LeBron. Yeah. So like I don't know, but Luka may be up there, but I kind of wonder what the off-ball Lukas are doing.
What does off-ball Luka do? Off-ball Luka is drinking a beer, hanging out.
He's having a
while on-ball Luka does everything. But then they could just take turns being the on-ball Luka.
So they're all going to have 15 points and 5 assists at the end of the day.
There you go. Kevin said Turner is a bad fit for the Lakers. Terrible rebounder, which is our biggest weakness. It is. And couldn't handle the heavy center. Can't handle. What's that? Yeah, I mean, and Lakers can handle lighter center well without AD, like we did with Cat. I think you need a big so bad. Turner is not as good of a fit without AD as he is with AD.
Yeah,
but you need a center, period. And he could still be a lob threat finisher. Is he as good of a rebounder as you want? No. I think the perfect fits for the Lakers are now Walker Kessler, Clint Capella, someone like that. I think those are the types of fits that you're looking for. Rob Williams would be great if you had a crystal ball and you knew he was going to be healthy. So
yeah, I've said it before, but I think the perfect player types to target are exactly what they gave up. That's exactly what this team needs.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
But that's a good problem to have.
Can we get Trey Murphy or Herb Jones? No, those are the 2 guys the Pelicans say they will not move, or 2 of the guys the Pelicans say they will not move, nor should they. Yeah. If the Lakers grab Clint Capella, how much money would they have in free agency if they let him walk? So it depends on what's going out for him. But if, let's say, it's Rui plus a minimum contract or something like that in order to get there money-wise. For Clint Capella, then it would get you in range of having the full MLE this summer based on how the numbers are right now. But that can change because Dorian Finney-Smith needs a contract extension and he's eligible for one starting on February 10th. That can change things. What does LeBron want to do? There's a lot of flexibility in there, but it would put you right there in striking distance to have a full mid-level exception to use on the market this summer if you were to walk away.
Yeah, I wouldn't want him to walk away though. Personally,
No,
if I
I think
invested in getting him,
you'd re-sign him. That would be the idea.
He'd be a good target.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little older, but he'd be a good target.
AR said, wow, just think about it. 77 plus 23 is 100 in my book. We need a center who can get realistically. And we've talked a lot about the names that are out there, but some of them, how available they are is unclear. Kessler, Turner, Pirtle, those guys. Vucevic is very available. We know that. Capella is very available. Jonas Valanciunas is very available. Robert Williams is available. Is he available to the Lakers? It's Portland. I don't know. Those are the main names that are out there right now that I think they'll be interested in. There's been some rumors the Lakers might have interest in Mitch Robinson as well. But again, if I'm the Knicks, I'm just keeping him because they need what he brings.
Yeah. How many of these guys are actually available to the Lakers now that we've traded a pick and the other pick presumably will lose value?
I think they still are. I mean, if you because who knows what 2031 is going to look like. I mean, that's
that
so
one's
far
just
away.
so far out that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and I think it depends too on what do teams think of the Lakers front office.
I mean, after this trade,
after this trade, they're rising up a little bit, but I think there's a lot of teams that would look at it and say, well, they made a lot of mistakes over the years, and maybe they won't be that good by 2031.
That's true.
All right, let's go here. Oh, my guy Borna said Reeves and a 2031 first-round pick for Turner and Mathurin. Your thoughts? Let's get it done. I don't think the Pacers would do that. The Pacers, they want to win right now. They need to get a center back in the trade, and they're not getting that with this.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the math doesn't work on the deal either, obviously.
Yeah, I was going to say that you also have to add more to it, but
yeah, it would have to be Reeves and Rui or something.
I think around Hallie, they also need to have just more guys like Mathurin as opposed to like Reeves, personally. And then also, like you said, they do need a center back.
Right. Exactly. They have to get a center back in a deal. We talked about this already, so I won't do it again, but could Luka and the Lakers' future keep LeBron playing for 4 more years? I think 4 is kind of a lot, but could it extend LeBron's time? Potentially. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily count it out. I wouldn't assume that it wouldn't.
It just comes down to how long does he want to keep doing it? Because I'm sure that after 20 years, it's really hard for him to sometimes get his mind in it. And he's already been saying for the last couple of years, he's not going to play forever, this and that. And it's all mental for him. Athletically, physically, he can do it. Now, that's all within reason because he can't give you what he used to give you as consistently as he does. But you see it. Last game, he had a 33-point triple-double and helped the team win a win that they shouldn't have won, probably. Like, he can do it. And I'm sure he'd still be able to do it a few years from now. But what's the mental, for him? I think that's the tricky part.
That indeed. Yeah,
and also at a certain point, maybe he wants to just finally be at home with his family. Like, he's been doing this for more than half of his life. At some point, maybe he just wants to be around his family and his kids.
What a concept, right?
I know.
Guys, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor for our channel, and that is Prize Picks. The link is in the description down below for you guys to check out. I'll also drop it here in the chat so you guys can give that a look. We always appreciate it when you guys support the companies that help support us and keep us going, keep the lights on, all that kind of stuff. So go check out Prize Picks Daily Fantasy Sports. Use the promo code Bulletin, and you'll get a guaranteed $50 on your first $5 play. So go check that out. Again, that promo code is Bulletin. Donnie, let's make some picks here real quick before we get into a few more questions. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but I love Jalen Duren more than 9.5 points against Atlanta. I love that one. I think he can get that. The little goblin play there.
That's
fair. What do you think about Zion at 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists?
Against
Denver.
I believe in Zion. I'm going
no DeJounte Murray, who's out with a torn Achilles. Man, absolutely brutal. Brutal. And of course, don't forget, you can only use it once, but the Patrick Mahomes free square, 0.5 passing yards. That's a gimme. That's easy. So a $10 entry would win $37.50 on that play. You guys can check it out. again, use the link that I put in the chat and use that promo code Bulletin. Again, we appreciate all the support that we've gotten for this very new endeavor here, the Basketball Bulletin. Appreciate all of you.
Absolutely. Do you think this is true? Fun fact: no one team in the last 10 years has won a championship without a stretch five.
Without a stretch five option.
Yeah, somebody on the team. You have to pull up the list of the last champions. Huh?
I am. Because when I see the team, I remember who's got the Bucks obviously had Brooke Lopez. If you called AD was a stretch five for the Lakers in a way.
Absolutely.
Especially, the way he played there. And they also had Markieff Morris, who welcome back Markieff Morris.
Yeah.
The Celtics obviously have a stretch five. The Nuggets with Jokic, yes. What about the is Draymond a stretch five? He had those years where he did.
They had Bielitsa though, didn't they?
But they for a little bit.
Was he their center that year?
The Bucks, the Raptors. Who's the Raptors had Marc Gasol.
Okay.
The Warriors again. The Cavs. Who was the Cavs stretch five with the ball? Would it be Kevin Love that was the guy who slotted in there? Yeah, I guess that's right.
They also had Channing Frye.
That's right.
Right? No, he's on that team.
It's the way of the NBA. It's the change in the way the game's been played. All right, let's go rapid fire through a few of these here. Maxi Kleber for. Do you know what this one is?
Maxi for Jonas?
As a backup big.
Jonas?
For Jonas as a backup big?
Max, I think it's Maxi for
Jonas.
Jonas.
Doing that swap. I mean, that's like if you really don't find any center, you can't find any center out there on the market, anyone at all, then just to say you have a center, maybe you do it. You can't find anyone at all.
You make it sound so bad.
I know. I like Jonas. He just doesn't fit on this team at all. And I do think he'll look better around better players than the way he looks with the Wizards. But you got Luka. Luka's great at throwing lobs. Jonas is not a lob threat. Like he doesn't make sense with that. He doesn't make sense defensively.
Yeah, what this team needs alongside Luka is like Jackson Hayes plus.
Yeah,
like Jackson is the right type of player, but he's just not the right player specifically.
So
like
Nick Claxton.
Yeah, he's one that I would really love on this team with Luka.
Reeves for Kessler. That's interesting. Would you do that?
I'm still on how you made it sound like Jonas was the last dude in the game to get picked. It's like, oh, really?
If you were the last center on earth, maybe.
Reeves for Kessler. I would try to do Dalton.
I would do Dalton, and I would do Dalton the first and take off the protections. I would do that for Kessler. Yeah, saw a post that a lot of teams are jealous that only the Lakers got a chance for Luka. I wonder if any teams will give the Lakers a fair price for a trade because of that.
If they're petty, I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think you could do business like that.
If they feel like they're getting something their team needs, they're getting a good deal for them, they're going to make that trade, regardless of how they feel. The Lakers and the Celtics have made trades before. Like, if they feel like they're getting a good trade, they'll make it. Can we do Gabe and a second for Olenek and do Rui? Oh, we did that one. Okay. We did that one. Rui, Gabe, Wood, Cam, and a first for Claxton, Sharp, and Wilson. That's not enough. You're not. The Nets will not do that. It's not
even enough salary, is it? Maybe Gabe and Rui in there.
Yeah. Kyrie opts out this summer and joins the Lakers. I mean, he'd have to take best case scenarios. The Lakers would have the mid-level exception. He'd have to play for $13 million, unless we go crazy here and LeBron takes a huge pay cut. But even if LeBron plays for the minimum, you're only freeing up like $20 million right now.
Yeah, because they're over.
Yeah,
already is what it is.
So
that's funny because it reminds me of that Kyrie quote from last summer where he was like, "Oh, I'd love to play with LeBron again, but in Dallas."
Yeah.
So you'd be in LA, but you'd have the same three guys. So kind of reminds me of that.
Ayo Dosunmu Javon Carter for Gabe Wood, a second and a pick swap.
I don't think they do.
Sure. I like Ayo Dosunmu. I think he'd be a nice fit. Javon Carter's kind of had a down season, but I do like him.
Yeah, I don't think they do that.
Okay. Senpai says Rui and a first round pick for Robert Williams and Kamara, Kleba and a swap for Cody Martin, and you get seconds back. I don't know if you would, but okay. Out on Pirtle, need lob catchers. Yeah, I mean, Rui in a first. I do like Kamara. I think you're getting a little bit on the wing there. You're getting a little bit of the big. It's how comfortable are you with Robert Williams and his health? If you believe he's going to be healthy from here on out, then you do it. Otherwise, you don't, because that's a lot of first round pick.
Yeah. Do you take a gamble on that? Because you do have some concerns with Luka. There are some concerns there, at least from the Mavs side, at least. But you have an aging LeBron. Do you actually take the gamble on that?
On Rob Williams?
Yeah, Vando too on your team. You got some.
I'll tell you what.
Concern.
If I could do it for seconds, I'd probably do it for Rob Williams. But I don't know if I want to go first. If I'm going to first, I need to know that guy is going to be there. A slow-footed big like Jonas will kill this team. Yeah, I'm not that high on him. By the way, the ESPN grades for the Lakers and the Mavs trade, the Lakers got an A and the Mavs were given an F.
Yeah, that's why I said don't tell me that one.
Yeah. Yikes.
Like, I get it. I
understand.
But it kind of hurts because I think AD is awesome.
He is.
But I genuinely think they're just never going to love him like that. And it's not even his fault. It's just because of the trade.
Unfortunate for AD. All right, everybody. We got through a lot. We talked about a lot of different things. We appreciate all of you guys for being here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications as well. And before you get out of here, like this video. Till next time, everybody. We'll see ya and stay safe.